Okay, so we started.
and training program which aimed at exposing all the regional directors of education and other four staff, that is the regional training officer, the regional HR, the regional officer in charge of supervision, and then the regional officer in charge of ICT, through how to use the portal. It also aimed at taking the same schedule officers at the district level on process of using the teacher portal Ghana. So at the end of the presentation, it's expected that the regional director, the district director, the regional HR, district HR, the regional director in charge of supervision, the director in charge of supervision at the district level, then the training officer at the regional and district levels, as well as the IT officers at the district and regional levels, will know how to use the CPD portal. So let's have a quick look at our presentation outline. We'll be going through the history of NTC, where it started and where it has gotten to, and things that are happening at NTC and what NTC stands for. We'll also be looking at teacher professionalism in details. Then we'll also look at what NTC has done towards the achievement of teacher professionalism. We'll also talk about continuous professional development on a glance, and we'll also dissect it to see what entails in continuous professional development, taking accounts on in-service teacher education and training, how teachers can build portfolio, as well as how teachers can also document their training program on the teachers portal. Then we conclude. So the brief about the National Teaching Council. As you can see in the middle, we have National Teaching Council over there, and we have 6 polygons around it. So each polygon talks something about National Teaching Council. The one with label 1 has inscription agency under Ministry of Education. That is to say that the National Teaching Council is one of the agencies under the Ministry of Education. So the head of National Teaching Council reports to the Minister of Education. Minister of Education is very much in tune with whatever is happening at the National Teaching Council. The next polygon, number 2, also talks about the time that NTC was established. And as you can see, NTC was established in 2008 by the Education Act 2008, that's the Act 778. It's this act that established the National Teaching Council. Total of 2008, and we are in 2021. So how many years now? Even 2018 is 10 years. 2020 will be 12 years. So getting to about 13 years. And you could realize that NTC wasn't all that active. Why? Simply because at the time of establishment, NTC was tasked to register teachers, to license teachers, to ensure the professional development of teachers, and develop standards for teachers. But all these activities were being performed by a division under the teacher education, under the Ghana Education Service, called Teacher Education Division. Because of that, NTC could hardly perform its role. Until 2017, when the minister, and for that matter the government at that time, decided to merge Teacher Education Division with NTC, so that we could get rid of the duplication of functions between these two entities. So that's what you can see on the slide 3. NTC and Teacher Education Division were merged in 2017, that's January to be specific. But coming back to the second slide, in 2020, a new Education Act was enacted, and that new Education Act is called Education Regulatory Bodies Act 2020. That's the Act 1023. And that act reaffirmed the regulatory powers of NTC, that NTC is mandated to regulate teaching profession. So by regulating the teaching profession, all that it means is that NTC has the power to regulate how teachers should be trained in the teacher training institutions. So when you go into the act mandates NTC to develop curriculum for training of teachers at the pre-service level. Again, the act mandates NTC to also develop standards to guide the training of pre-service teachers. At the in-service level, the act mandates NTC to regulate the employer to determine the kind of teachers and the employers can engage. And again, NTC has also been mandated to also determine who qualifies to be a teacher. Then again, still in the in-service, those who organize in-service training for teachers, NTC has been mandated as part of its function to develop curriculum for those who want to train teachers, so that they can use that curriculum to develop their training models for the training of teachers. So in-service teacher education program, the people who provide them, that the service providers of CPD programs, are also regulated by NTC. NTC as a body working for government and for Ghana has a governing board that regulates or that ensures that the Secretariat of the National Teaching Council performs its role effectively. Before the Education Regulatory Act 2020, the head of NTC used to be called Executive Secretary. But in the Education Regulatory Act, the Act specified that the head of NTC should be called the Registrar. So now we have Registrar. And our current Registrar is called Dr. Christian Adai Puku, the former NAGRAT president, who was also the headmaster of Asante Senior High School before being appointed as the Executive Secretary for the National Teaching Council, who has now metamorphosized to be the Registrar of the National Teaching Council. All that it means here is that you must be a teacher before you can be the head of the National Teaching Council. As we speak now, the council has only one office, and that office is located in Adabraka, opposite University of Ghana City Campus, and it is in the building where the Teacher Education Division used to be, or the Workers' College. The office is adjacent the Institute of Information, so that is where National Teaching Council is. But you agree with me that we have over 400,000 teachers in the country. And we also have over 90,000 trained teachers or teacher trainees. And yet NTC is able to perform its function with one office because of the power of technology. But that is not to say that the council will not be decentralized. The council is in the process of decentralizing its activities to the regional levels. Now let's look at into details the mandate of the National Teaching Council, which I have earlier on highlighted. So the object of the council is to professionalize teaching in Ghana, and by so doing, the council set benchmarks to regulate the teaching profession. By a benchmark, we mean standards that will ensure that our teaching profession could be held in high esteem. So, as I indicated earlier, at the teacher training institutions, NTC makes sure that every teacher trainee that has been admitted is counted in terms of sex, the program, year of admission, and the major programs. And as and when students are dropped out, the data is updated till the time that they will sit for the license exams. So we call that process indexing. The indexing helps us to estimate how many teacher trainees will be graduating in a particular year, so that we can prepare for them to write the license exams. Again, it also gives us an idea about how many teacher trainees can graduate in a particular year, and what are the subject areas and the sex specifics, so that we can also communicate this information to the government to make room for their employment, so that the graduate unemployment when it comes to teachers can be reduced to the minimal level, if not eradicated entirely. Again, apart from the indexing, the National Teaching Council is also mandated to set standards that inform the teacher education and training in the colleges and universities. So we have come out with the National Teacher Standards, out of which a curriculum has been developed for training of teachers. We call that document INTEF, a National Teacher Education Curriculum Framework. It was developed from the National Teacher Standards, and it is to be used by all teacher trainees across the country, that the teacher trainees use across the country, so that training of teachers will be consistent and in line with the needs of the country. Now, having given standards to teacher training institutions to use them as base documents to train their teacher trainees, the council therefore has the right to also conduct licensure examination for graduates who may be graduating from these teacher training institutions, to ensure that they meet the standard, and for that matter, they can occupy the spaces in our job market. That is why the license examination is conducted every year after the teacher trainees have been graduated. From 2018 up to date, we have conducted 5 teacher licensure examinations. Every year we conduct twice of the examination. There are 2 times of the examination. One is supposed to be in March, and the other one is supposed to be in September, so that every teacher trainee who graduated within that year can sit for the exams. Though the month may be shifted from March to any other month, or September to any other month, the difference are not so much. And this, I think it started last year where we experienced the COVID-19, we had to move the March 1 to June and the September 1 to October. And this year too, that's in 2021, the March 1 has been moved to May. So the essence of conducting the license examination is to ensure that teacher trainees were trained based upon the standards prescribed for the training institutions. In the in-service level, NTC regulates teachers by against certain standards for teachers to practice. So whether you are a teacher in administration or teacher in classroom, you have to comply with the standards. Again, NTC developed professional development curriculum that is used for the in-service training. And lastly, NTC also licenses teachers who meet the standards and therefore can demonstrate the minimum competencies required of them to practice as teachers. So when you meet the standards and can demonstrate the expected competencies, the council reserves the right to license you as a licensed teacher. So these are the mandates. Now let's move to the next slide. Yes, you may be asking, so why are they coming to worry teachers? What all this is about? If you look at the diagram here, we have the yellow diagram that has inscription, standard, and competencies. All that it means here is that teachers are expected to acquire certain competencies so that they can meet the standards or the benchmark set to define one as a professional teacher. So teachers should be able to demonstrate competence that are enshrined in the national teacher standards. And if you are able to demonstrate those competencies, then we can say that you are a professional teacher. And for that matter, you qualify to be licensed. So the council will give you a license as evidence of your capability to demonstrate the competencies. And having gotten the license means that you must stay there and rust. It's expected that you go through continuous professional development programs or activities to sharpen your skills in order to enhance the competencies. So when you meet the standards and you're given license and you go through CPD program to sharpen your skills or to enhance your competencies, what will be the result? The ultimate goal is to improve students' performance. So when we do all these things and student performances are not improved, then it means that the process is not helping. So we need to do research to see what went wrong. Now we are moving on to the next slide that also talks about the teacher professionalism. So this is the cycle of teacher professionalism, which every teacher should know, or anyone who wants to become a teacher should know. So in Ghana, for you to become a teacher, you have to be in the initial teacher training institution. That's the step one. So you can go to college of education or university that train teachers. After the specified year of the course, you have to graduate. And by graduating, it means that you sit for your final exams in the institution. When you pass and you are graduated, your name, that the pass list from the institution will be sent to National Teaching Council. Once we get the pass list, we populate them on our registration examination portal. And once they go into the examination portal, what it means is that you are eligible for the licensure examination. So you go into the portal to search for your name, and once you see it, you can register and sit for the exams. Those who pass the license exams are given provisional license to embark on 1 year induction program. That's the step 4. Colleagues, the induction program here, all that we are saying is that the 1 year confirmation program that teachers used to embark on after teacher training institution, specifically the College of Education, we realized that there were no curriculum or policy document supporting that. So they go there and their destiny is left into their own hands to struggle to survive. After a period of 8 months, the state supervisor will come there and confirm them. If you pass, they send your name to the district for you to fill IPPD, and then they place you on the full scale so I can start receiving your salary in full. If you remember, those were the time that we were getting back pay. About 1 year, within 1 year, one of part of your salary will be deducted and kept somewhere. So when you are confirmed, you write for the back pay. But interestingly, that period was a national service period, but none of us had national service certificate, to a point that most of the teachers who went through the training college system can never boast of possessing national service certificate. And you know, policies are changing. Now, where we are in the country, it's expected that when you want to occupy certain positions, you need to exhibit your national service certificate or demonstrate that you also serve the nation on the national service scheme. And most of the teachers, if asked to present their certificate, will be found wanting. We don't want such a system to continue. So what we have done is that, yes, do your 1 year confirmation program, but National Service Secretariat should post the teachers so that their names will be on their records. So that after the 1 year confirmation period, the National Service Secretariat will issue certificate to the teacher trainees. So the process is just simple. NTC gives them initial teacher license because the law or the act says that license is the only authority for one to be allowed to enter classroom and perform duties as a teacher. So if the license is the legal authorization for one to be in the classroom as a teacher, then the council reserves the right to issue the initial license, called provisional license, to all those who have passed the Ghana Teacher License Examination and are ready to embark on the 1 year induction or the National Service Program. So during the induction period, we expect them to be oriented by the National Teaching Council for them to know the nitty-gritty of the teaching profession. We also expect the district directors of education to orient all the newly posted teachers, including those on the National Service Scheme. In the same way, we expect the school heads to also orient all the newly posted teachers, including those on the National Service Scheme. And it's only this way that they can perform their work as teachers. We also expect them to go through what is called continuous professional development activities. And this time we have made it said that any in-service training that the teacher attend will attract a point. So the details of the points can be found in the CPD framework. So when the teacher is on the induction program, we expect that teacher to get 20 points within the 1 year that he or she is doing the service. And the points can be obtained from school-based in-service training, cluster-based in-service training, or departmental-based in-service training, and even attending in-service training outside the school, but not interfering with the class activities. Again, he or she can also embark on self-initiative programs that can also promote learning. So when that teacher trainee meets the 20 points, these points are documented on the teacher portal. Every teacher has an account. The NQT, that the newly qualified teachers or the national service personnel, also have an account over there. So in the school, the heads reserve the right to go into that account and assign the points to the teacher trainees. But when they go for the training outside the school, the service provider who has been licensed or certified by NTC also reserve the right to enter the point assigned to that training on that teacher's portal. But having accrued the points that is required of the teacher on induction, the question we are asking is that what did you use the knowledge acquired or the skill acquired from the training for? And it is answered that the evidence of the use of the training should be demonstrated in the teacher's portfolio. So you build a portfolio to demonstrate how the knowledge acquired is being used. So when you go to the portfolio rubrics that has been developed, it also has specific things that are expected to be in the portfolio. And you can see those things in page 34 and 35 of the National Teacher Standards. Now the National Teacher Standards, page 34 and 35, itemize some of the things or all the things that should be in the teacher's portfolio. So after the induction, it's expected the teacher trainee who has now become the newly qualified teacher with a provisional license will be given a full license. But for him or her to acquire the full license, the person must pass the portfolio assessment that will be conducted by NTC. In this regard, NTC has trained portfolio assessors who will do the assessment on behalf of the council. But this year, whilst waiting for the assessors to be on the field, it's expected that the heads of the institutions where the NQTs have been assigned will do the assessment as a way of piloting for us to see how it will go. So they need to pass the portfolio assessment, and they also need to get the assigned points before they can exchange their provisional license for full license. And then when they get a full license, because they have passed the portfolio assessment test and they have also met the CPD point requirements, their names are written in the NTC's register. So their names automatically go into the register for teachers. Before time, their names were in a register called the Newly Qualified Teachers Register or Provisional Licensed Teachers Register. But having received a full license, their names are migrated from the Provisional Licensed Teachers Register to the Full Licensed Teachers Register or the Professional Teachers Register, which means that they are professional teachers. And from this point, that the point says where their names are registered, they are recommended to employers by NTC that these are the people who qualify to be recruited. It's out of that list that GES or any private school or any entity that want to work with professional teachers can pick or can select from. Now, having obtained your full license doesn't mean that you are licensed forever. The license is subject to renewal within every 3 years. And for the teacher to maintain his or her professional standing status as a professional teacher, we expect the teacher to be participating in CPD activities, that the teacher should periodically attend in-service training, initiate activities that will promote learning, and must also build a portfolio. So the teacher who has just been given the license fall within a certain rank, and that rank has a point that must be met within 3 years. Again, when you go through the CPD framework, you see at every rank the point that the child must met or must accrue within 3 years before he or she can renew the license. But that is not to say that once you get a point, you can renew your license. When you get a point, you must also build a portfolio based upon the criteria defined in page 34 and 35 of the National Teacher Standards, or based upon the guidelines given in the portfolio rubrics for assessment before you can get your license renewed. Now, the license renewal comes with a fee. The portfolio assessment comes with a fee. But NTC has worked tirelessly with the teacher unions and GES, as well as Ministry of Education, to institutionalize what is called Teacher Professional Development Allowance. So you agree with me that in 2020, teachers were paid professional development allowance. It's supposed to be 1,200 cedis, but because of the licensing, NTC deducts 100 Ghana cedis, and then the rest comes to the teacher for the teacher to use them to assess training programs. That will help them to accrue points to renew their license. If you ask me, when are we getting our license? You are getting your license very soon, before the end of the year. As we speak now, we have piloted the license in 3 districts. That is Sai Osudoku in Greater Accra region, Seche South Municipal in Ashanti region, and then in the northern segment or the northern belt, we have also piloted it in Savlugu Municipal. And we have CPD service providers working in this district to deposit or credit points into the teacher's account for us to see how the system will be able to sustain these points based principle that we are trying to implement. Once it works, then we'll go ahead to issue the license to every teacher. So what we have done as a way of preparing towards the issue of the license is that we've asked every teacher to send his or her details to NTC via the teacher portal Ghana, which is www.tpg.ntc.gov.gh. So every teacher is supposed to go to tpg.ntc.gov.gh to upload his or her information, whether you're a private school teacher, professional teacher, non-professional teacher, teacher on NATCO, teacher unemployed, whatever. You have your field over there. We need to have records of every teacher in the country or every prospective teacher in the country, so that we can also plan to support the professional growth of such individuals. So once the teachers upload their information on the portal, we do background check. So currently, all those who have their information on our portal, we are doing background check with the institution that issues the certificate when we are not convinced. Or we sometimes call the teachers who uploaded their information for clarification and when we are convinced, we activate the account. A text message is sent to the teacher that this is your license number. But that license number is a temporal license number until we come to your district or your school to capture your biometric data to confirm whether indeed the information that you provided were accurate before we confirm that number or disconfirm the number. So when we come to your school or your district and everything is okay, the information provided is genuine, and your biometric data is captured, we now confirm your license number and then issue the card to you as a license bearer. But if the information that will be given to us or our checks prove that the information received were not the right information, and for that matter, they were false, we will now block that number. So that's the whole system, and as I'm saying, by the end of the year, it's expected that every teacher will get the license, all things being equal. Now let's move to the next slide. This slide is telling us where we are or what NTC has done so far as a way of promoting teacher professionalism. NTC has joined an association called AFTRA. You can Google. AFTRA means Africa Federation of Teaching Regulatory Authorities. All the teaching councils or teacher regulatory authorities in Africa have come together to form an association that want to use common standards in training teachers in their countries or in Africa. So what that means is that a licensed teacher from Ghana, when travel to Nigeria, can still practice as a professional teacher over there. Or when you travel to any African country that belongs to AFTRA, you can teach in that country once you hold a license from Ghana. And you can also speak in the language of the instruction over there. We also belong to an association called IFTRA. That's the international version of AFTRA. Jamaica is part of it. Scotland is part of that organization. Ontario University is also there. That's Canada. And what it also means is that once you have our license and you travel to any of these countries, all that they will do is that they will go to our website or our portal to check whether you are good standing. And they can engage you as a professional teacher without subjecting you to anything or any rigorous examination, because we are using similar standards in training of teachers. We also provide what is called professional standing letters to teachers. Sometimes stakeholders find it difficult to interpret the certificate that teachers are holding. If you look at the nomenclature or the face value of the certificate, you may not engage a teacher, or you may give a teacher a duty that he or she cannot perform. So before we issue the professional standing letter to teachers, we investigate the courses that the teacher pursue at the teacher training level. And we do so by even going through the transcripts of the course that the teacher pursue. That gives us a fair idea about what the teacher can teach and the level that the teacher can teach. Then we also do our investigation at the district where the teacher has been attached, or the various institutions where the teacher has worked under the Ministry of Education before the letter will be written. In most cases, the first paragraph of the letter introduces the person and I'll talk about the course that the person has done, and for that matter, the certificate that the person is holding. Then it talks about the fact that the person has not breached or has breached the code of ethics and professional practice, or have committed any offense whilst on duty, or whether the person resigned. Then the letter also concludes by recommending probably that the person qualified to teach this particular subject and at this level, or can teach this particular subject from this level to this level. So that's our letter of professional standards. It helps for teachers to be placed at the right class and to handle the right subjects, even when they travel outside the country. We also organize GTLE, which is called the Ghana Teacher License Examination. And as I indicated earlier, we have organized 5 examinations since 2018. We are also projecting the Ghanaian teachers beyond Ghana through what is called Ghana Teacher Prize. In 2018, Ghana produced one person who contested for the World Teacher Prize Award. He was selected among world top best 50 teachers. Again, in 2019, we had another person who was also selected among world top best 50 teachers to also compete on the $1 million award in Dubai. Unfortunately, none of them was able to bring the award. That notwithstanding, Ghanaians were selected among world top best 50 teachers, which we think is something that we can celebrate. Again, in 2019, Ghana produced a lady at the Africa level who won the Africa Best Teacher Award. And in 2020, another lady was also produced from Ghana and was selected among the top best Africa teachers. So all this is a way of promoting Ghanaian teachers at the international level, so that when we are not saying Ghanaian teachers should migrate, but just as professionals in other fields are given that higher recognition when they travel outside Ghana, we are preparing same for Ghanaian teachers. We also provide, as we speak now, other countries come to Ghana to learn the best practices from here. Rwanda is now establishing its teaching council, and they invited Ghana to give them guidelines on how they can have effective teaching council. Again, Zambia also came to Ghana to study our ICT systems and how we are able to use technology in the process of professionalizing teaching. There was also a professor from South Africa who also came to study the professional development programs, the licensing processes, and our IT systems. And from time to time, we have people coming. So gradually, through NTC, Ghanaian teachers are becoming global icons when it comes to teaching. We have also standardized teacher education and training, as I said earlier, before the production of the National Teacher Standards, and for that matter, the National Teacher Education Curriculum Framework. All the teacher training institutions were doing their own things, but now we have been able to bring them together under one umbrella, where they are being regulated with a document on how they should produce the teachers Ghana need. So we can say that there is some kind of standardization when it comes to teacher education and training. We also engage stakeholders to solicit ideas on better ways of professionalizing teaching in the country. And we also build capacity of teachers. We do this by organizing orientation for master trainers, district teacher support team members, so that they can go and do their downstream training. So last year, for instance, we organized, with the support from UNICEF, we organized a training on universal design for learning for over 230 master trainers selected from all the regions in the country. The universal design for learning is the second objective of a national inclusive education policy. But little the teachers know about that, even with the major stakeholders. So we organize orientation program to support the master trainers on how we can implement the objective 2 of the improved education policy in the country. We also selected training officers from all the districts in the country. We have 260 districts. And then we also selected the regional training officers who are 16 in number, and we train them on how to use the teacher portal Ghana to organize training or to document teachers' records. Some years ago, you are looking for teachers' records and you will not find them. They ask teachers to bring their first appointment letter and they can't be found because these were hard copies sitting somewhere. Now we have documented all the teachers' records on the portal. So wherever you go, you just go into your account and you can download your document. Or if any stakeholder needs information about you, you just give that stakeholder your account code. They can go into your account to download the kind of information they want without you bothering yourself to go for photocopies and others. So we have organized capacity building training, and what we are doing now, this video is also a way of building capacity of directors and regional and district office staff so that they can also understand what goes into CPD and what NTC stands for, as well as how to use the teacher portal Ghana. So the next slide is telling us that though NTC has only one office in Ghana, we are working in all the regions, and in all the districts in the country. So wherever you are, NTC is linked up through our website and our portal. You can just send us a message via the portal on either cpd@ntc.gov.gh or it.ntc.gov.gh, and we are live. Within 48 hours, you get the feedback. We have also indicated that teachers who are facing difficulties using the portal can also send us information via this email address I just mentioned. Or you can go to the frequently asked questions button to also ask your questions over there. We have also noticed that some teachers are facing difficulty to even upload their information because their names on their payslips are not conforming to their name on their SNET card. Sometimes the payslip may have the full name, but the SNET card may have abbreviations or the other way. In such a case, you only have to scan these two documents and send them to us via email for us to do our cross-examination to activate your account for you. Let's move on to the next slide. So this slide is also telling us about some of the materials we have developed from the National Teacher Standards for Ghana, which is an offshoot of the PTPDM policy. The PTPDM policy is the Pre-Tertiary Teacher Professional Development and Management Policy. It was a document that was developed to professionalize teaching. And out of that, we came out with the National Teacher Standards. And from this National Teacher Standards, we give out the benchmarks for training and education of teachers. We have been able to develop materials that will support the teacher professionalism. One of them is the CPD framework, which can be found on the portal, that on the resource button or on the link on the portal where we have the information access link. You can also get the teacher logbook. You can download and print. The logbook is a document that a teacher will hold anytime you are going for a training program or anytime you engage in self activities that support the improvement of learners' attainment. So we document the point in the teacher logbook, and the same point is also transcribed onto the teacher's portal Ghana, so that the logbook will serve as a backup copy of whatever information we have on the portal. The one on the portal Director General, Regional Director, District Director, the Minister of Education, whoever want to see how the teacher is building the self can go to the portal and get real-time information about the teacher. So that we have the teacher log. The digital version is on the portal, and then the hard copy version is the book that the teacher will download and keep. Anytime the teacher realizes that the information on the teacher logbook is different from that on the teacher portal, you can send a message to NTC for us to rectify that. So I've just mentioned about the teacher portal Ghana, so I'll not talk much about it. When you go to the teacher portal Ghana, you can see all the service providers that NTC has certified. You can see them on just on the interface of the log on page of the teacher portal. When you scroll down, you will see logos of all the service providers that we have certified. We also have database on teachers. The number of teachers we have in the country, how many of them are females, how many of them are males, the subject that they have been licensed to teach, and what have you. The insert training that they've attended, you will see everything there. They will also have what we call digitized AIPR, that's the annual insert progress report. All the in-service training that will be organized in every district, every region, will be tabled over there like a league table. So the minister upon a glance can see what districts has organized few or no insert, and what district or region has organized more or many insert programs. So the digitized AIPR is also there. We have also developed what is called comprehensive teacher database, which I've just mentioned earlier, so I'll not talk much about it. Upon a click, you can see how many teachers are going on retirement in the next year. Upon a click of a button, you can see how many teachers are female teachers teaching mathematics in district X or Y, or in school A or B. So that's the database we are talking about. It gives us an idea of how many teachers will go on retirement in a particular year, so that the employers can also make room for how to curb that attrition rate. At the same time, it also helps us to educate the teacher training institutions on the number of teacher training they should admit every year, so that we can control the attrition rate. We have developed mentor and coaching framework. You can't mentor teacher without looking at the pillars enshrined in the mentor and coaching framework developed by NTC. The framework has 4 pillars. One is the knowledge and understanding of the curriculum that the teacher is to implement. So if you are mentoring teachers, we expect that they are mentored on the curriculum that they are going to implement. The next pillar is about the knowledge and understanding of the learner. Here too, we believe that learners have different abilities. So diversity exists in the class of the teacher. Therefore, the teacher needs to understand the various principles surrounding learners. Learners may be affected by socioeconomic background, or even the way the classroom has been arranged. Even their sitting position in the classroom can affect the way they learn, the way the teacher talks, the classroom interaction, how learners interact with material. So the teacher needs to be mentored on how to handle learners. Again, the third pillar is about the knowledge and understanding of the school. The school that the teacher has been posted to teach may also have its own culture, that the ethos of the school need to be understood by the teacher. So we need a mentor to mentor the teacher to understand the school, the culture of the school, the leadership style that exists in the school, so that the teacher can see the self as somebody who belongs to the school community, and for that matter has a role to play toward the attainment of the goal of the school. And somebody has to mentor the teacher to see himself as a full-fledged member of that school community. The fourth pillar is about the knowledge and understanding of the community. The school is also situated in a community, and that community has its beliefs, its do's and don'ts, and the teacher should be oriented, should be mentored to understand that different communities have different ways of living and different ways of doing things. So the teacher needs to appreciate that community and also has to align themselves to that community before that teacher can live in the community in peace and harmony. So somebody must also mentor the teacher to accept whatever is happening in the community. So then a better coaching framework is built on principles of 4 pillars. And all these 4 pillars are tied to the National Teacher Standards and the demands of the PTPDM policy. We have also come out with compliance framework for ECE teachers and service providers. So this framework, as the name implies, it's a compliance framework. We expect all the teacher training institutions training teachers to comply with the framework. We also expect all the employers to comply with the framework. So the teacher training institution will have to look at the demands of the framework before they can train ECE teachers. The employers of teachers will have to look at the demand of the framework when posting ECE teachers. You can't post any person as early grade teacher. There are some qualities enshrined in this framework that need to be considered. And again, ECE teachers must also comply with the framework because certain standards have been set for them to also comply with. And then again, the service provider who are also organized in-service training for ECE teachers also have some standards to also live up to, which are enshrined in the framework. We have in-set framework for ECE teachers. We have developed in-service teacher framework that guides the training of in-service teachers when it comes to inset. Then we have comprehensive national teacher policy, which was developed by teachers and for teachers. NTC led the development of the comprehensive teacher policy, and we consulted all teachers in the country. We went to every regional capital and asked district directors to nominate people to come and represent their teachers within their constituencies. So we developed it together. It is to help teachers to also do our work effectively. Earlier on, I said that teachers are supposed to build portfolio. So the rubrics that have been extracted from page 34 and 35 of the National Teacher Standards are also available as a document that every teacher must have a copy to use as a guideline when developing the portfolio. We are moving on to the next slide. As I said earlier on my outline, that we'll look at CPD at glance. So what is CPD? Continuous professional development is just an activity or activities that teachers will embark on with the aim of enhancing their competencies in order to improve learners' attainment. So any activity that the child will embark on to improve his or her competencies so that that teacher can support learners to enhance their attainment or to improve their learning goal is considered as CPD. We have 3 types of CPD programs. We have the mandatory CPD program, We have the rank-based CPD program, and then we have the recommended CPD program. The mandatory CPD is compulsory for all teachers across the country. Example is the ICT in teaching and learning. Another example is inclusive education. Another example may also be the history of teacher education in the country or teacher professionalism in the country. So when you get the CPD framework, you see what is called mandatory training, what is called rank-based training, and what is called recommended training. For the rank-based training, example could be training that is targeted or targeting all circuit supervisors, training that is targeting all headmasters, training that is targeting all head teachers, training that is targeting all district directors. These are rank or duty-based training. In other words, they are called committee of practice. We also have recommended training. NTC from time to time conduct research. And when we come out with findings that will help improve teaching and learning, we define the competence that teachers are supposed to require, so that teachers will assess training on that. We have categorized all trainings under two main groups. We have the supply-driven training. These are trainings that will be organized at the school level, at the national level, at the district level, at the cluster level, or at the regional level for teachers without charging anything. It's given to them free of charge. Sometimes NTC will collaborate with the teacher employment agencies to organize the training for them, or NTC can collaborate with teacher unions or even with the development partners to organize said training for teachers without taking any money from the teachers. We also have the demand-driven training, which is a training program that the child will subscribe from the service providers. And this one, because the child is attending that training based upon his own needs assessment, that teacher will have to pay something to the service provider. That is why the government has instituted the professional development allowance for teachers, so that they will use that money. I said earlier on that teachers are paid 1,200 cedis as professional development allowance, and 100 Ghana cedis is taken out from that money for the purpose of the licensing and portfolio assessment. The 1,100 cedis that is left is for attendance of that demand-driven training. A teacher may say that let me attend only the supply-driven training so that I will not spend my 1,100 cedis. Or a teacher may say that let me attend only the mandatory training. NTC has come out with a calculator, CPD calculator, that will compel you to assess training from all. For example, you need 50% of the supply-driven training and 50% of the demand-driven training. If you attend 1,001 supply-driven training, the calculator will still calculate it as 50% of the training the training required within the 3 years. If you attend 6 million times of the mandatory training, it will take it as 1/3 of all the training that you need to acquire. So you need 1/3 for mandatory, 1/3 from rank-based, 1/3 from recommended-based training. In other words, you need 50% supply-driven and 50% demand-driven training. And all these things have been atomized in the CPD framework as well as on the portal. So that's the CPD calculator for you. We also have the Ghana Teacher Portal that is used for registration of service providers. I think I've talked about that one, so there's no need to hammer on it again. Why do we organize CPD program, or why teachers should go for CPD? So why teachers continue professional development program? You agree with me that when you attend CPD program, it helps you as a teacher to exhibit professionalism, because when you attend the CPD programs, you acquire some competencies, and these competencies can help you to demonstrate that yes, you are a high-class teacher. Again, the portfolio that you build as a teacher also document all the trainings that you have attended, the competence that you have acquired. And this can help anybody who want to take decision about you, the teacher, to have fair idea about the competence that you have acquired, because everything is documented in your on your portal and in your teacher training logbook. Again, the CPD can also help you as a teacher to assess training from any service provider so that you can enhance your competencies. As a professional, you need to build on what you have. So it's this CPD program that will help you to conduct this assessment to identify your weaknesses and fairly look for areas that you can enhance or you can bridge the gap that you have identified. So you agree with me that we need professional development in our lives as teachers. Even when curriculum is changing, teachers must also enhance their competencies. As a science teacher, I didn't know that atom was indivisible particle of an element, but now they are saying that atom is divisible. So if you don't go for in-service training, you wouldn't know. We used to talk about 9 planets, but now they are saying that Pluto is not a planet. We used to define matter as anything that has weight and can occupy space. Now we are saying that we don't define matter in terms of weight. It's anything that has mass and can occupy space. You agree with me that on the Bloom taxonomy, evaluation used to be the highest level of learning, but now it has been revised, and we have the revised Bloom taxonomy showing that creativity is the most difficult aspect of learning. So as teachers, we need to attend CPD to also have current information and to also enhance our competencies. So we move to the next slide. This is how we have categorized teachers in the country. We believe that the process of becoming a teacher starts from teacher training institution. So at the teacher training institution, we have what is called the index teacher, and these are the teacher trainees. So we give them unique numbers that can help us to know every year how many teachers were recruited. We also have the DTLE candidate. These are the people eligible to sit for the license examination and have been assigned with numbers or the index numbers. We also have the newly qualified teachers. These are those who have passed the license exam and have been given the provisional license for them to go and do their national service. Then we have the in-service teacher, of whom you are part and I'm also part. In-service teachers could be teachers in administration or teachers in classroom. So school managers, directors of education, those who are working in district education office, regional education office, national education office, or any agency under Ministry of Education, because of their possession of a teacher's certificate, is considered as in-service teacher. I'm saying that any person recruited under any agency, recruited in any agency under the Ministry of Education, because that person's possession of teacher certificate is considered as in-service teacher. If you are in a classroom, you are a classroom teacher. But in the classroom, somebody can be a class teacher or a subject teacher. But if you are in administration, you may also have administrative functions to perform as a teacher. Then again, we are saying that any person posted by National Service Secretariat after completion of the teacher training institution and having written and passed the license examination is called newly qualified teacher. Newly qualified teachers are characterized by possession of provisional license. So any newly qualified teacher who doesn't have a provisional license, we have some questions to answer. And any newly qualified teacher who is also a provisional licensed teacher can never be posted to anywhere other than classroom. So that is it. We are going to the next slide, which I've already spoken of. Now the in-service teacher, I've explained it already. So we are moving to the next slide. Here we are talking about the CPD plan. Every teacher must have a CPD plan. Just as any organization has a strategic plan and an action plan. So with your CPD plan, this is how every year a teacher must develop the personal annual CPD plan. So how are you going to do it? It's only when you have it that you can follow it to build your capacity. So you follow your personal CPD plan to assess CPD programs, whether within the school or outside the school. You can also carry out self-initiative CPD programs. For example, you can back on action research in the school with the aim of solving a learning problem. You can also write a chapter of a book or a storybook that will promote learning. So there are so many self-initiative activities that have been enshrined in the CPD framework. Now, who qualified to organize CPD program for teachers? GES management at all levels qualified to organize CPD for teachers. That at the national level, at the regional level, district level, cluster or school level, authorities can organize in-service training for teachers. And all this training can be documented on the portal, because the heads are going to be given accounts, the directors are going to be given accounts, because they are also heads of teachers in administration. So after every in-service training, they can document the training points on the portal. Such trainings are mostly called supply-driven training, and they come with no fees unless the employer determines otherwise. We also have training that can be organized by the accredited service providers, those who we have certified as service providers. They go through rigorous training from an NTC, and they also go through rigorous scrutiny before they are certified as service providers. NTC can also collaborate with GES, Ministry of Education, deployment partners, NGOs, or teacher unions to organize training for teachers. Such trainings sometimes even come with some incentives, because we may want them to also cascade the training until the last person gets a share of that concept. All training records are documented in the teacher's training logbook, and they are also documented on the teacher portal Ghana. The address to the teacher portal Ghana is just tpg.ntc.gov.gh. Any teacher who feels that the information on the portal is not in line with the information of the logbook can report through the portal and scan the copy of the logbook where the problem exists, so that NTC can rectify the problem. So teachers can use the TPD portal to also assess available TPD programs. Anytime there's a CPD program happening somewhere, it is documented on the portal. So teachers can also go to the portal to check available CPD program and subscribe to that. Let's look at what we have on the next slide. Here, as I said earlier, we have asked all teachers to upload their information to National Teaching Council via the portal, so that we'll give them license. Such as South, Sayo Sudoku, Savlugu, teachers there are currently having their full license. And within the 3 years, we expect them to live in the confines of the National Teacher Standards, as well as the Code of Ethics and Professional Practice designed by the National Teaching Council. They should live in the codes enshrined in these documents. And above all, they should attend CPD programs to meet the accrued points assigned to them. And when they meet the point, we also expect them to build portfolio and submit for assessment. So the teacher must meet the point assigned to his or her rank and must also pass a portfolio test or assessment before that teacher can renew his or her license. And you agree with me that in the school, CBI, that is cluster-based inset, is organized once in a term, and school-based inset is twice in a term. So in a term, the teacher is going to have 3 insets. That's 2 CBI and 2 SBI and 1 CBI. Again, I'm saying that in a term, a teacher will have to participate in 2 school-based in-service training and 1 cluster-based in-service training, making 3 insets. If each one attracts 1 point, it means that in the term, the teacher will have 3 points. In 2 terms, the teacher will have 6 points. In 3 terms for primary school, the teacher will have 9 points. So primary and JHS, 9 times 3, that's for 1 year is 9 points. For 3 years, that's 27 points. You have 27 points if you attend all the insets. And you have not paid for any of them because they are supply-driven training. In addition to that, we said that there are so many activities that you can also engage in, which have been specified in the CPD framework, that you will not pay anything. So you can get so many points without even spending your professional development allowance. But as the calculator has done it, you may need the demand-driven training to complement the supply-driven training to meet your points. Having met your point, the teachers are to also show evidence of how they demonstrate the skills acquired from the training that they attended. And this evidence should be documented in the portfolio, which content will be scanned and uploaded on the portal for online assessors to also review after the district or the head has also scored the portfolio. And we stated that page 34 and 35 of the National Teacher Standard has all the information that you need to build your portfolio. In addition, the portfolio rubrics is also available on the portal for teachers to download. So as NQTs are building their portfolio and attending CPD to meet 20 points to renew their license, to extend the provisional license for the full license, all in-service teachers who have been licensed are also attending CPDs to meet points assigned to their rank and also build a portfolio for assessment before they can also renew their license. And I did say that you are not paying anything because 100 cedis is going to be deducted from your professional development allowance. And that 100 cedis will be used to renew your license and also assess your portfolio. So that is how it is. If you fail the portfolio assessment and meet your points, you can't renew your license. On the other hand, if you pass the portfolio test but fail to meet your point, you can also not renew your license. Because of this, our system is developed such that when it is getting to 1 year for your license to expire, you get a text message from us that you need X number of points, but you have only gotten Y number of points. However, you have 1 year to renew your license. Then 6 months to expiration period, you get another prompt telling you how many points you have and how many you need to renew. Then, okay, again, when it is 1 week to the time, you will still get the prompt that you have 1 week to renew your license. Meanwhile, these are your points that you expect to accrue, and this is what you have out of that. Then on the day of the expiration, you get a prompt, ping, 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 ping. Your license is expired. You need to contact NTC. So when you get that text message, it means that you could not renew your license because you couldn't meet the portfolio requirement or the CPD point requirement. And according to the Act 1023, it is an offense to practice without a valid license. And it's equally offense for someone to engage a teacher with invalid license or a teacher without license. It also says that it is offense for someone to be purported as a professional teacher. And the penalties thereof have all been stated in the Act 1023. So, colleagues, it is also required that you get a copy of the Act 1023. And we have also put it on the portal for you to download so that you can also understand the process of teacher professionalism. So what goes into the portfolio and what is this portfolio that he's talking about? So on this slide, we have the meaning of portfolio, the process of getting it done, and why must we build portfolio. But these are theories that I don't want us to go through so much. In short, when we talk about portfolio, what are we talking about? It is just a document that shows the responsibilities of the teacher, the philosophy that the belief that the teacher have, the aspirations of the teacher, and things that the teacher has accomplished. So it's just a folder that contains this information. For example, when I go to my village, my mother always brings a folder that contains some files or some document, which she always say that these were your hospital records from your infanthood up to the child that you could go to hospital on your own. So that is my health portfolio. Now, when you even go to hospital, before you see the doctor, they ask of your folder. That folder is your health portfolio because it contains your health history. In the same way, as teachers, we must also have portfolio that contain our copies of our certificate, things that we have done, our teaching philosophy, that what we want to achieve as teachers, our CVs, and what we have achieved. So in short, that's about teachers' portfolio. And I'm saying that we have the rubrics that define what must go into the portfolio. The rest are just elaboration on what the portfolio is, the meanings. You can even Google for meaning of teaching portfolio, and you can get it. Why must we build a portfolio? We are saying that the portfolio is so beneficial to teachers, to administrators, and even to learners that we are handling, because it helps us to keep the records of what the teacher has accomplished in life. So the good things that the teachers are doing are documented in the portfolio. It also helps us to recognize the importance of teaching, because things that we are doing right are kept here. So it can help us to tell the changes that our teaching has brought to bear. Apart from that, it also helps us to discuss about the pedagogy that teachers are using. When I take teachers' portfolio, the pedagogy that the teacher is using, the assessment method, strategies, everything is stated over there. So I can ask, why is he doing things this way and not this way? And somebody may say, oh yeah, I think this is the best way. So it can generate intellectual discussion or intellectual discourse on how teachers use their methodologies and even how their methodologies are aligned with their philosophies. It also encourages scholastic works, because when you take the portfolio, we said that teachers are going to conduct assigned research in the classroom, and they'll publish them. So we get a lot of literature or articles on how teachers intervene or mitigate challenges or problems that they identify in the classroom. And by so doing, teachers can use them as reference material to also tackle issues that they may confront in their classrooms. It encourages teachers to develop and present better evidence of quality of teaching, because they know that they are going to build portfolios, so they may always try to do something better that will help them to provide better evidence. Apart from that, it also provides better assessment tools for those who hire or promote or want to evaluate teachers. You can go through the teacher's portfolio and know who the teacher is, what the teacher can do before you engage that teacher, or you assign a certain responsibility to that teacher. In all, the teacher has the right to build his or her own portfolio without anybody compelling that teacher on what to do. So it is an advantage for the teacher. Now, before the teacher builds the portfolio, there are some guidelines which have been stated here that you have to collaborate with your lead mentor or the head of the school to clarify your responsibilities for you, that you know that this and this are my responsibilities or the role that I have to perform. Then you have to reflect on your teaching goals, your philosophy, and the way you teach, while focusing on the 3 domains in the National Teacher Standards. And these domains are professional knowledge, professional values and attitudes, and professional practice. You need to consider all these things while reflecting on your philosophy, your style of teaching, and what you aspire to achieve. You analyze this content or the content that will support your philosophy and also the guidelines that have been given by NTC. So if there are some issues with your philosophy, if your philosophy is not aligned with the 3 domains of the National Teacher Standards, and again, if your philosophy is also not in line with something that can help you to achieve what NTC wants you to achieve in terms of the portfolio rubrics, then you need to recraft your philosophy. So you should gather evidence to support what you are documenting, and you select artifacts, the best ones, connect them with your philosophy, your desired goals, that your beliefs, and your teaching style. And apart from that, you have to also give draft of all the things that you have written, the reports, to colleagues for them to proofread, critique it for you, so that you can improve upon the reports that you have written to include in your portfolio. You then submit them to the assessor, who assess the hard copy. Then you also scan and submit the soft copy for NTC to also assess online for you. Colleagues, as I said, when you go to page 34 and 35 of the National Teacher Standards, these are sort of things that you can see over there as things that should be in the portfolio. So directors, we expect you to encourage all the teachers, so the head teachers in the schools where national service personnel are working now, to use these guidelines to support the service personnel to develop their portfolio for assessment. So teaching philosophy, tell your heads to ensure that the service personnel have developed their teaching philosophy. scheme of learning, that is for those in the classroom. But if you're not in the classroom, you have to be action plan. Learning plan, if you're not in the classroom, you have to be implementation plan. Report from head of institution, confirm that the teacher has taught. The 90 hours is for those who are doing their national service. But for those of you who are in the service, the report should confirm that you were present at least 98% of the expected time to be in school or to be in office. And your head of institution is your director if you're a teacher in education office. Then teachers should also put reflective journal or include reflective journal in the portfolio. And we've also talked about the teacher training logbook, which should be part of the portfolio. Action research that is conducted by the teacher. 3 or 4 teachers or 1 teacher can conduct an action research and include it in the portfolio content. A write-up on the type of assessment method that was used with justification. So if the teacher frequently used assessment as assessment of or assessment for, you need justification in terms of write-up to show why they were used and whether they help you to achieve your aim. But for teachers who are already in service or in administration, you can also use questionnaire. The assessment method here may be any instrument that you use to collect data to inform the work that you are doing. How the data was, the instrument was developed, why it was developed, how it was used, and whether or not it helped you to achieve your goal. You need to put a write-up on that and include it in your portfolio. Copies of the learners' activities. Now, teachers in classroom will provide copies of learners' activities, not only the good ones, but we want to see the transformation of learning in the classroom. But for those in administration, you have to provide copies of activities that you carried out within that period. And as I said, portfolio is built in the 3-year cycle. The same way CPD points are accrued the 3-year cycle. Yes, you are saying that you embark on activities, whether co-curricular activity or whatever. We are saying provide videos and photos to support your claim. So if you're a classroom teacher, you provide videos and photos. If you're in administration, you provide videos and photos. And then report on the co-curricular activity that you are attending. In most cases, the report can also have pictures in them so that they will look nice and convincing. Then the teacher must also have narrative of all artifacts that may be added to the portfolio. But I must emphasize that this year we expect directors to encourage all heads of schools to supervise the national service personnel to build their portfolio. So that the heads of schools will assess the portfolio and give us the points via the portal. Let's look at the next slide. This slide is talking about the fact that the heads of schools have roles to play. So the first role that the head has to play is to assign mentors to newly qualified teachers. So the mentors here could be the heads of the schools. So the directors have to assign mentors to the heads of to the newly qualified teachers. So every newly qualified teacher must have a mentor. So directors currently tell the heads that they should mentor the newly qualified teacher. If they are mentoring them, it means that they will help them to build their portfolio, and then they here refer to the heads of the school who assess the portfolio and submit the scores to NTC via the portal. This is for only the newly qualified teachers. This year, we expect all the newly qualified teachers or teachers who are on National Service Scheme to submit their portfolio to us. And the portfolio should be supervised and assessed by the heads of schools. So we are moving on to the next slide. Just bear with me. I'm having a little technical challenge, which will be resolved very soon. So the directors are supposed to monitor the professional development of teachers, including NQTs. So from time to time, you have to monitor professional development of teachers and advise. The directors are supposed to organize orientation for all newly qualified teachers, including NQTs. All newly posted teachers as well as the newly qualified teachers. We expect directors to organize orientation for them. The heads will also organize orientation for them. The orientation that will be organized by directors is for 2 points. And the same points also go for the one that will be organized by the heads of schools. We want the directors to also do periodic monitoring on the activities of service providers. If they come to your district to organize face-to-face training, kindly monitor their activities. Again, if you're organizing online training and you get their contact, call them to give you a free slot to also monitor the activities. We expect directors and heads of school to use the insert records and the portfolio assessment records to recommend the newly qualified teachers for professional license. We rely on your recommendation to issue professional license to NQTs. If you say they don't qualify in your recommendation letter, we will do investigation and act accordingly. If you say they qualify, we will do investigation and act accordingly. So the directors will endorse the insert record of teachers before they will be submitted to NTC. In summary, all that we are saying here is that all teachers in service before September 2018, if they are professional teachers, they are not going to write any license exams. Instead, they should upload their information on NTC portal so that NTC will verify and give them full license without any examination. And we are saying that if teachers are able to perform this exercise, every teacher who was in the service as professional teacher before September 2018 will get license before the year 2021 ends. And when you get your license, within 3 years, we expect you to meet the CPD requirement that you build a portfolio and also accrue points that commensurate to your level or your rank before you can renew your license. And with the renewal of license, all the public school teachers are not going to pay. We are deducting 100 Ghana cedis from your 1,200 cedis, and that will be used to renew your license and also assess your portfolio. But for private school teachers, they will have to pay for the license fee in full. They will pay for the license fee and they will pay for the portfolio assessment. So that is how the teacher professionalism process is. Thank you very much, and I think this ends my presentation. If you have any question, you can send the question to us on cpd@ntc.gov.gh or it@ntc.gov.gh. So we are repeating the website address for you, the email address for you.
That's cpd@ntc.gov.gh and it@ntc.gov.gh.
Thank you very much, and that's the end of the presentation. Goodbye.